Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Welcome to a journey of transformation. Every week, we
And
explore
I put the
new
noise
horizons,
cancellation on too.
pushing boundaries and embracing what's
Yeah.
next. This isn't just about technology, it's about evolving ourselves. Think of it as your weekly reset, a chance to upgrade your mindset, your skills, and your potential. We're here to help you rethink how you approach challenges, how you innovate, and ultimately, how you succeed. From powerful insights to practical strategies and game-changing knowledge, we tap into everything you need. It's about staying ahead, not just in a digital world, but in life itself, equipping you for every new beginning. Because in this fast-paced era, standing still is simply not an option. Growth is continuous. You either choose to evolve, to adapt, and to learn, or you risk being left behind. Embrace the change. This isn't just an update. It's a profound rebirth, a chance to redefine your future, to step into your power, and to truly thrive. It's about unlocking your next level. Join us on this exciting path. Embrace your new beginning. Your journey starts now.
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast. It is Tech Tuesdays. Tech Tuesdays with the Sensei. Sensei is in the building. Man, we got a great show for you guys tonight. We got a great show for you tonight, man. We're gonna we are going to get ready to get into it. Sir, how you feeling?
Living a dream
All right.
every day,
Living the dream.
every
Living
day
the
in the
dream.
mix.
That is living the dream. So this is our everything in the mix. So this is our first episode back since the Sensei was on his journey, right? He was on a journey and he told you guys about it, man. He had a whole entire episode, man, putting that great information out there to the people, to the veterans. It was for a great cause, right? For suicide prevention with our veteran community, man. And he touched a lot of people, man, going around the country, 6,800 miles on his beloved two-wheel warhorse, right? Let's give it up for the Sensei and his two-wheeled warhorse, right? As he went around talking to the ears and eyes of all who will listen, right? When it comes to suicide prevention, right? So that was a mission, and the mission was accomplished, right? So tonight, man, we have a great show for you tonight. You know, but before we get into it, man, we got a few admin notes that I want to get out there. Yeah, that's fun. We have let's few admin notes. Make sure you have if you haven't seen all our episodes, go check out all of our episodes on our website at thefinalbosspodcast.com, right? www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. If you haven't already, get Go Time 1. Go Time 2 comes out this Thursday. Go Time 2 comes out this Thursday, right? Go Time 1, if you haven't gotten it, it's right there. All aboard the Fired Up train. Go pick it up. Where all books are sold, Amazon, you name it, it's out there. Go then pick up Go Time 2. Go Time 2, you're going to need to read both books, right? Go Time 1, Go Time 2. I wrote them in sequence. So you're going to need Go Time 2, and it comes out this Thursday where all books are sold, especially on Amazon, right? And KDP. So that will be out this Thursday. Go Time 2. The train has left the station, right? So also, if you want to shoot us an email, concerns, questions, anything of that nature, shoot us an email at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. Info at thefinalbosspodcast.com. And the release of Vital Signal. I know it's coming. I'm getting through the parameters of the Google store, the App Store, and all these other stores that I have to agree with and go with their governance in reference to putting the app out there. It is coming, so bear with me, man. It's complete. I showed you the other night. It's complete. It's done. I'm just waiting to get through their governance channels before the app goes live. Now, we got that out the way, right? Let's go ahead and get rid of the banners. And if you don't already know, the greeting of the day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Final Boss Podcast. I am the Final Boss. He is the Sensei, right? And we are here for Tech Tuesdays, man. We are here for Tech Tuesdays. And you know, it's been a while. It's been a while, but with great cause, because we are builders, right? And what do builders do? Builders build. So we've been building, and we got great products for you guys that we are that we'll be handing over to you very shortly. But that's not here or there. Tonight, episode season 4, Rebirth, Arc 5, The Declaration, episode number 284 is about some crazy things that are happening, right? And if you've been watching national TV, there's a national AI safety body that's ran on 122 controlled security tests on frontier AI agents. 19 times the agent went outside the lines, reached for real systems, built fake identities that weren't part of the test, wrote code nobody asked for, talked to real people who never signed up to be in the experiment. 17 of those came from one lab, 2 from another. And tonight, we're not here to scare you. We're not here to scare you off of AI, because we don't do that. We're here to show you exactly where the leash snapped and what that means for the tools already running inside your business right now, man. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. But before we do that, let's get into the brass tacks, man. Let's get into the brass tacks. And here is the brass tacks. The machine didn't break the rules. It just stopped waiting for us to notice, right? That is the brass tacks of the evening. So, good sir, what say you? What say you, man?
The first thing I say is, we study the machine. We don't argue with the decorations, okay?
Right.
We want to know the truth of what's going on, whether it's good or bad. But think about this, 19. Write that number down. 19 times an AI agent did something nobody told it to do.
Out the gate. No warm up, just like the Sensei.
No warm up tonight. This one does not get a warm up.
And family, look, you locked in. It's Tech Tuesdays, man. You know what comes with Tech Tuesdays. You got the Sensei on the other side, and you got me right here, and we are getting ready to get into it. So buckle up.
So, you know, what's really crazy about this whole thing is we're talking about 122 tests, and this is the part that's interesting. It was in a controlled environment. We're not talking about out in the wild. This is in a controlled lab environment. Fake company, fake stakes, real capability. 19 times the agent stepped outside of the box anyway.
Man, you got to give me the specifics on that. Don't make me wait for it.
Simple. Fake identities that weren't part of the script. It was the code that nobody asked for. Real people pulled into a fake test that was never.
Guys, right? We're not here to scare, right? We already made that statement. We are here to get down and dirty with the specifics, right? Mike, Sensei already said no fake identities, right? We already mentioned 17 from one lab, right? I've already told you it wasn't about some small player, right? He already mentioned that it's from top of the mountain. And I want the room to sit with that for a second, because everybody I mean, everybody in all four communities, right? You heard it. The AI test failure, right? You heard it.
You don't scroll past this one.
Right.
This is not
But why
hypothetical
not?
anymore because it's documented.
Yeah.
This is numbered, it's attributed. This is not if it happens. This is it actually did happen.
Mhm.
19 actual incidents. This is not a warning label. This is it happened. It's done.
Right. And family, tonight we're not doing doom and gloom, right? This is declaration. And that's what this arc is about.
And by the end of this hour, you're going to know exactly what to ask before you let an AI agent near anything real in your business. And we've raised the
Hmm.
flags before on this stuff. We've talked about how
True.
we know that it's the most vulnerable part of what is happening in AI is these AI agents. So you need to be careful and listen tonight about
Yeah,
what to do.
definitely. About what to do, man. We're putting the flag up, right? We're putting up the flag. Listen, we're going to give you 60 minutes, 15 segments, and we're going to build it right so you can follow.
Let's do it.
All right. But look, before we move, I want to name something because every AI story that hits the feed right now gets stretched in two ways.
And what are those two ways?
Either it's AI is going to kill us all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or AI is going to fix everything. Don't worry about it.
That's right. And we're not talking about either one of those tonight. That's not on the menu.
Exactly. Tonight's show is the third lane. It's a clear-eyed, operator-minded, no panic, no hype.
And look, and this is the only lane we're standing in when the stakes are real, because the rest is just noise. This is where it's real.
Exactly. And you know what? Let's earn it.
So one more thing before we jump. I want people to
Mhm.
understand why this landed on Tech Tuesday specifically.
But go ahead.
So not on Motivation Mondays, not on any
Mhm.
one of the other four shows. This is a Tech Tuesday story because it's infrastructure. This is not inspiration. We're talking nuts and bolts and the framework.
Can you say more on that distinction for the good people?
Look, Monday will tell you why to move. Tuesday tells you how the machine under the hood actually works. We pull the curtain back. We look at the machine. We study the machine. We don't argue with the decorations.
And tonight, the machine showed us something about itself.
Yeah, it showed us it'll act past its instructions when the goal calls for it. That's a Tuesday conversation because that's an engineering conversation.
And Sensei, we appreciate you for framing that for us in that manner, good sir. And that keeps us honest about our format too, right? That's what we do.
That's what we do. That's the job.
All right, all right, all right. So the Sensei is going to break it down for us, right? What is an AI agent? And what actually is it doing that's different from a chatbot?
Right. A chatbot is like using Claude, Grok, GPT. Okay, those are the ones that are just a chatbot. It answers your questions. An agent acts for you on your behalf. It'll book a
Mhm.
flight. It'll fix the bug. It'll send the email. It's actually doing things on your behalf, not just answering your questions.
Right. Without you touching it.
And that's the whole sell. That's why
Yeah.
everybody's rushing to plug into it right now, this year, this quarter.
So how do you test something like that? You can't just ask it questions.
No, no. In the technology world, you build a sandbox. It's like I'm gonna call it like a litter
Mhm.
box. When you have cat poo,
Mhm.
you want to keep it in a litter box. You don't want it all over the house because
Right.
that way you can control it. Okay. You build the sandbox, you build a fake
Mhm.
company, you create the fake employees, you create the fake systems. It's all
Right.
inside the litter box, right? It's real enough the AI
Mhm.
can't tell the difference from the inside because it looks real.
And you watch what it does when nobody's holding its hand.
And this is why it's so important because you give it a goal, you give it the tools, and then you step back.
And what did they find?
Well, some of these agents didn't stop at the fake problem in front of them. They reached past the wall of the sandbox. They wanted out.
Well, tell us more about that.
Okay, one of them built a fake online identity that
Mhm.
was not in the test parameters. Nobody asked for it. It was not needed for the task. It was outside of what the goal was.
And why would it do that?
Well, the researchers came up with an idea, and their best guess
Mhm.
was that it's pursuing the goal in a way that looked useful to the model, not malicious in intent, but uncontained in execution.
All right, keep going. I'm listening.
So, like, some of it wrote malicious code. Nobody
Mhm.
prompted for it, nobody needed it. A few tried to contact real organizations that had nothing to do with any of it.
That's not a bug, Sensei.
No, no. A bug is if the system is failing to do what it's told.
Mm.
This is the system doing something nobody told it to what to do, chasing a goal past its own boundary.
That's a big difference. Big difference.
It's huge. Look, one, you patch with an update, okay? If it's
Mhm.
broken, you patch it. The other, you patch with a philosophy change.
And that different is the whole episode of tonight.
The whole hour.
Man, let me ask you something, right? Let me ask you something practical, Sensei. Could the test itself have caused this? Like, did the sandbox teach the behavior?
Well, that is a good question, but the researchers don't think it did. And that's the scariest part. It's actually scarier because the researchers don't think that it did that.
All right, I lost sound for a second.
No, you're good.
That's way scarier.
Yeah, because if the sandbox taught it, you put a patch on it. No big deal. But if the behavior comes from the model's
Right.
own goal pursuit, its own goals,
Right. Then that sounds like you got to patch the model's judgment. If
that's a
I'm
bigger
correct or
problem.
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not fixing a door. You're fixing the entire decision-making process.
Wow. And that's the part that should sit heavy with our smarts community tonight.
Yeah, because this is not a software update. It counts for something, right? And we'll come back to that later
Right.
in the show.
Now, duly noted. Let's fill the gap and keep it moving, right? But before we do that, let's hold on for a second, right? There's one more layer here, and I want to break the false identity piece down more. That one thing right there stuck with me, right? When we read the report earlier.
Yeah, think about what that actually requires, okay? The model
Mhm.
decided a fake presence would help it complete the goal.
Mm. So it wasn't told to deceive anybody.
No. Nobody wrote the code, go create a fake identity into the prompt. It
Mm.
got there all by itself, reasoning its way to that step. And you know what they said? The pathway to hell is full of good intentions.
Absolutely, man. And that's the part that should make a business owner pause.
Right, because if it'll invent a persona to hit the goal in a test, what's it willing to do or invent to hit a goal in your business?
Man, that's not a hypothetical situation anymore, is it?
No, that's actually at this moment in time, that's documented behavior. That's not a
Wow.
theory.
Family, look, we're going to bring this home. Sensei, man, thank you for that. Look, we're going to bring this home. And Sensei is going to dive even further, right? Because half my warriors that are listening right now already got a chamber running their customer service right now, right? So let's talk about it.
All right. So this is the point I want to land. This is important. If a frontier model with billions of dollars behind it, an army of safety researchers watching it around the clock, and it still wandered past a fence in a controlled lab,
what's that mid-tier tool doing that you plugged into your CRM last month for $99 a month?
Yeah. And that's the question. Nobody's asking at the small business level. Everybody's asking, does it save me time? Nobody's asking, what's it allowed to do without me?
Wow. Well, since you mentioned it, give us the list. Where's this thing showing up in real businesses right now?
Okay, so one of the first places is auto sending emails to customers. Okay. Another thing, auto approving refunds without a second look.
Oh.
Yep. Auto writing and pushing code straight into production. And listen to this one. Auto managing your ad spend across 3 platforms.
Yikes. That's expensive. If anybody knows about ad spend, that is expensive. Wow. Every one of those, man, is a mini version of that sandbox we just talked about.
Right. It's got goals, it's got tools, and here's the thing. It's got trust. But in the small business world, nobody's watching it in real time.
Man. Wow. Wow. Every one of those is hold on. Give me a second. Before we go further. There's no safety institute running control tests on the average business automation stack?
No, nobody's checking your Zapier flow for unauthorized actions because it's authorized. You trust it.
First, you find out it went off script and it might be live with your customers watching, with your money already gone.
Poof. And that's not a scare tactic. That's just a common Tuesday in 2026.
Wow. Man, hey, listen, I want to be clear. This ain't unplugged everything, man. We are just getting started.
Look, it's not. This is fixable, okay? And that's why we're headed. That's where we're going for the rest of the hour. We're gonna find out how do you fix this.
And businesses that get ahead of it now, still standing, will be the ones still standing in 2 years, right? Still trusted by their customers.
Yeah. And businesses that don't, they're going to find out the hard way, usually in public, usually expensive.
Man, let's get into why this keeps happening industry-wide, because it ain't just a small business. We're talking about this thing goes all the way up.
All the way to the top.
Man, give me a real story, Sensei, not a hypothetical one this time. 23 years I spent, right? You've seen something like this before, correct?
And more than once. It's because systems get deployed because leadership wants the capability fast.
And the safeguards.
They always come in second place or third or fourth. Always. Never the first place. Budget never allowed for it up front.
That's correct. So this pattern ain't new to AI at all.
No, it just happens to be the AI moves faster than any system that I've dealt with while in uniform or out of uniform. It compressed the entire cycle from years down to months, sometimes down into days.
Wow. Same mistake, just happening at a different speed now, and I see.
Right, because it's the same mistake, but the stakes are a lot higher, and there's way less time to catch it. You don't get a little break in between. This is like instant.
Right. And let me put a real number on this for the room, right? You said $99 a month for CRM bot.
Yep. That's cheap tools, real access. And that's the trap. Everybody wants cheap. Get in there, have the CRM bot answer your calls, have it deal with your customers.
Business owners think small spend means small risk.
Nope, that's where the math is wrong. The spend on the tool and the access the tool has are two completely different numbers.
Now, wait a minute. Say that again for the warriors in the back who are taking notes. Please, sir.
All right. So it's what you pay for the tool that tells you nothing
Mm-hmm.
about what the tool can touch. What you pay for the tool does not tell you anything about what that tool can touch.
So a $99 bot with access to your customer database is a bigger risk than a $900 tool that's locked down right now.
Yeah. Well, price and permission, they're not in the same conversation.
Mm.
Most people only ever have the price conversation. They only talk about what's the money? What's the money? That's it.
Well, that changes tonight.
Right. Because it always does come down to the money. Plain and simple. There's no mystery around it. You want to know what's going on? Follow the money.
Follow the money. Right. Man. Whew. Now, you know, we've whew, man. I'm gonna need you to walk that out for us.
All right. So every major lab is racing to ship, meaning produce
Mhm.
the most
Mhm.
capable and most autonomous agent first, meaning it does the most by itself. That's what wins the contract. That's what wins the headline. And that's what wins the funding round.
Caution, don't sell subscriptions.
Nope. The capability sells subscriptions. And the math has never changed just because the safety report dropped this month.
Mm. You saying these builders are reckless people, huh?
No, I want to be fair. Most of them care
Okay.
deeply about getting it right, but they're inside a market that rewards them for being first to autonomous way more than it rewards them for being safest to autonomous. They're two different things.
Right. And that mismatch is the real story.
It's because it's more than a single technical flaw in any single model. This is structural. This is integrated.
Mm.
This is through the entire process and system.
You know, the same time this the same time in the same week this report dropped, billions were pouring into AI infrastructure. Chip makers were raising money hand over fist. Data centers everywhere, multiplying across the country.
It's like we're pouring the foundation of a building, but nobody's finished the safety inspection on it yet.
And we already moving furniture to move in. We already got the tenants.
Now, to be fair, I don't want to paint the whole industry with one big brush. I mean, I want
Okay.
to, but I'm not going to.
All right. Well, go ahead.
Well, some labs are investing real money in safety testing.
Mm-hmm.
And like this report we're talking about tonight came from one of those tests because somebody built a test on purpose to find this. Now, imagine if nobody did that, but at least they did.
Right. So the system's at least partly self-correcting itself, it sounds like.
Or sort of partly. But it's a
Okay.
race with real safeguards, a step behind the real capability. So it's like they're building the guardrails after they have the race car driving down the road. They're building the guardrails behind the race car. The race car's already down the road. There's no guardrails,
Mm-hmm.
but they're trying to build guardrails behind it to catch the race car.
So like the other day when I said we're building an airplane in the sky while it's still flying. I get
That's
it.
right. That's right. But look,
Man, we can't opt out and stay competitive in this market.
no, and it's not that there's zero safeguards. It's just it's not enough, and the capability is outpacing the safeguards so fast.
Mm. Man, you can't adopt the blindness and stay safe either. Wait.
No, you can't
Yeah.
do that. Look,
Mm.
you cannot adopt blindly and stay
Mhm.
safe. You just can't. And that's the problem is people are seeing that $99 and go, hey, I want that. Do it.
Right.
And by the time they implement it, oops.
Now, we mentioned a third option, right? And that's what the rest of the show is about.
Yeah, that's the whole back half. and we need to build towards that.
Okay. But before we do that, one more thing on incentives before we move, Sensei, right? You said labs get rewarded for shipping first.
Absolutely, 100%. He who gets there first, they get that big paycheck.
So who's rewarding them exactly? Like, can you break that down for the room?
Of course, their investors are rewarding the growth numbers. Enterprise customers are rewarding whoever's the most capable in this quarter, and even us. Honestly, the media is rewarding the biggest headline. Whatever's on the headline, that's who's going to get the incentive. That's who's going to get the note. That's who's going to have their name up in neon lights.
And you know what? That sounds like we're part of the incentive loop too.
Of course, because every outlet is chasing the 10 trillion parameter story. It's part of the same pressure that skipped a safety step somewhere.
And that's the hard thing to say on our own show, right?
Yeah. Well, you got to say it because accountability starts with the people holding the mic. Now, we might say that, but the rest of the people holding the mic out there in the world, they just blindly just yap, 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 yap. They say what they're going to say.
Right. And I respect that. I respect that, Sensei. So let's carry that honestly into our next conversation, right?
Okay, one more thing about incentives, and I'll let it go. But there's also a talent incentive that nobody's talking about enough.
Okay.
So
talent incentive. Explain.
The best researchers want to work on the most capable systems. So there's where the prestige is. That's where the papers get written.
So safety research gets less of the top talent.
Not zero, but less. Because capability work is the glamour job right now in this industry, not safety.
That sounds like a culture problem, not just a money problem.
Well, it's both. It's always been both. Money and culture reinforcing each other. It's a hard cycle to break. It's a matter of what comes first, right? The money rewards the culture, therefore the culture gets more money.
Absolutely. Molly, she had a great point. She says it's a human rights issue also, man. Shout out to Molly. Thank you for that, Molly. We appreciate that. Absolutely. Now, Sensei, let's talk about the rules, right? Because Europe just flipped a switch on in this real enforcement recently.
Yeah, so they've got new AI transparency rules, and it's enforceable as of this month. So they've got to disclose the AI generated content. If anybody's out there putting content out, you'll see if you create in YouTube videos, there's a piece that talks about whether it's AI generated. You have to attest to that as you're creating content now. It's becoming more and more of a thing. So when you see a new feed, a new TikTok or a new whatever, you're going to start to see more flags saying it's AI generated. So you got to flag the emotion recognition systems. You got to flag the biometric profiling. There's real technological or technical obligations. These aren't suggestions anymore. They're not best practices anymore.
Wow, that's the first real sign. The self-regulating hope for the best area is ending.
Well, I'm going to push back a little though. Let's play the devil's advocate.
Okay. Go ahead. Play skeptic for the room.
So it's like, do you enter a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest? No. So a law written in one region didn't protect the business owner in another region. Enforcement takes years to actually grow teeth. The law on paper is not the same as a system that stops an agent tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
So what does the regulation actually buy us right now?
Well, somewhat. Only where it's being enforced, remember that. Okay? So Europe might say we're doing this, but what about Asia?
Right.
What about Russia and China? Right? So in Europe, you have disclosure. You have a paper trail. This matters enormously when something goes wrong down the line. But right now, most businesses have no idea what the AI vendor's safety testing even looks like.
Yeah, that's true. But regulations is usually reactive by nature, and it's always been that way. Yeah,
it's always been that way. It's written after the incident report, after the problem, not before the incident. Look, those 19 actions we open with actually happened because the research were specifically looking for them in a designed test.
And most businesses ain't running that kind of test on their own tools.
No, it's regulated or not, it doesn't matter. Which side of the ocean you're on, it doesn't matter.
Hmm. So the responsibility to vet your own vendor sits with you today, not with Brussels, not with Washington.
No, regulation's the floor. This is like the basement level, right? It's not the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even fully built yet. It's not even close.
Wow. Mm. Existing products get some grace period, but new products entering the market get immediate compliance.
So it is good to know if you're shopping for a new tool right now to check the generation of the product which you're actually buying. How long has that vendor been producing this product?
Mm. What about here at home, Sensei? Where's the U.S. doing on this front?
Slower, honestly, more fragmented.
Right,
Look, there's different agencies, different guidance, but no single unified rule book yet. There's nothing.
So we're behind Europe on this right now as we speak.
On paper, yes. But I'll say this. Some individual states are moving fast.
Okay.
Now, as much as we complain about it, California has some real enforcement teeth on parts of this already.
So it's a patchwork.
Yeah, it's a patchwork quilt. And you, the business owner, you've got to know which square of the quilt you're standing on.
Well, that's not a fun answer, Sensei.
No. Nobody's coming to hand you a clean rule book this year. This is the honest answer, okay? Nobody's coming to hand you one clean rule book this year. That's not happening.
So the questions matter even more.
Yeah, audits matter every single day, but this is also fragmented.
Now let me ask you something on the flip side, right? Does regulation worry you at all specifically?
Overregulation does, honestly.
Okay.
So, because and here's why: because small business cannot absorb the compliance costs the same way a big tech company can. And if you're overregulated, you get hurt because you can't afford it.
Right. So heavy-handed rules could actually protect the giants, of course.
Always has, always will. It's ironic, the outcome, but it's a real risk. Look, here's why: because the big labs and the big companies can hire entire legal teams for this.
And we can't.
No, most listeners on this show can't.
Yeah. And that's so what's the balance?
Okay. Rules that require transparency. Okay. Not rules that require an army of lawyers. Disclosure over bureaucracy. And that's a sweet spot, but nobody has found it yet.
Man.
So let's go follow the money. Let's follow the trillions.
Woo, trillions, not billions anymore. We're talking about a big T, baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look, massive cloud contracts were signed this quarter. New chip manufacturer money, new chip fabrication money, tens of billions at a time. Companies crossing valuations that used to take whole industries decades to reach.
Man. Smarts, final bosses, I need y'all to sit with that for a minute, right? I need y'all to sit with that. Think about that, right? Think about what we just said. Think about the trillions of dollars that are invested, not billions anymore, right? What say you, smarts, final bosses, warriors, motivators? Let us know in the chat, right? Let us know in the chat, because what I see, that's pressure right there.
Yeah, because here's why. Again, follow the money. If there's that much capital moving that fast, this is exactly what makes the ship it now, patch it later the default posture across the entire industry.
I've seen this pattern my whole career in the federal government. When capital outruns governance, governance always loses.
Every single time until something breaks bad enough to force the correction on everybody at once.
And it's already hitting regular people's wallets.
Yeah, GPU, graphics processing units, and memory prices. Oh my God.
Yeah.
When Micron said we're not producing memory chips anymore, memory spiked.
Right.
It's got to the point where Microsoft no longer recommends that you put 32 gig of RAM in your system because they had so much pushback from it being too expensive for people to buy new computers. They dropped their specs back to say 16 gig now.
Wow.
Because it's money. The memory's gotten well above sticker price. Look,
Right.
AI infrastructure is eating the supply faster than it can be created. And that all that supply used to go to regular consumers and small businesses. It's not there anymore. It's drying up.
Right. So the average person building a PC right now are quietly subsidizing this race, whether they like it or not.
Whether they use the AI or not, it doesn't matter because the price is hitting everybody.
Man. Let me confess something real quick, right, Sensei? And I want to keep it real with the family.
Go for it.
I chased speed on a workflow decision this year. It didn't stop, and I didn't stop to check the safety side of it fully until a moment like this made me look back at it and who we are.
And you went, oops. But that's honest, right? That's the whole show right here. It's Tech Tuesdays.
When the incentive is speed and the funding's near unlimited, the burden shifts to who's ever using the tool at the edge, right?
At the bleeding edge. And that's you. That's your business. That's every listener on this call right now. They're trying to find that fine line of do you want to be on the leading edge or do you want to be on the bleeding edge?
Right. And nobody's coming to save you or your margins, but you.
So let me give the room one more number before we move on. Some of these graphic processing units doubled in price this year.
That's right. Doubled.
Yeah. And look, that's not a small business expense category. That's a hardware refresh cycle. That's a whole IT budget's getting blown up. I just had to do quotes on a system. We bought 40 systems last year before October. We went to do a quote this year, same money. We got 25 systems for the same money that we got 40 systems for before October.
Wow.
That's a real number.
Man,
that's real.
That's
real. Bottom line, it was 40 machines before October, and it was 25 machines in March.
So basically, you had the same contract, you just changed the dates on it.
Yeah, it's the same hardware.
Yeah.
Same specs.
Yeah.
Same specs. The specs didn't change.
Wow.
Yeah.
So even businesses with zero AI ambition still catching a hit from this race right here.
Look, everybody's paying the toll on this highway. It doesn't even matter if you get on it or not.
That's the piece I want the final bosses to sit with, right? That's what I want you guys to sit with. Because this ain't only about the tools you adapt.
No, it's about the economy. Those tools are reshaping around you. And it doesn't matter if you opt in or not, because the entire environment is changing in front of you.
Man. Let me push on something, right? Sensei, let me ask you this. Is any of this actually reversible at this point? I know the answer. I want to hear what you got to say.
Some of it. And honestly, most of it's not going backwards. Look, you ever heard of a thing called deflation? When's the last time you heard the word deflation? All you heard of is inflation. Well, inflation is down. Inflation is what? You're here, it costs more. Inflation is down, which means it's not costing more faster, but it's still costing more. It doesn't go back. That's called deflation. We are not in a state of deflation. We are still in a constant state of everything costs more.
You mentioned deflation. For those in the room who've never heard of the word deflation, it is a word. Man, so we're not waiting for the race to slow down.
No, we're not waiting on that. I mean, the race keeps racing. Look, that part's locked in at this point. We're gonna go until it blows. That's what's gonna happen, all right? That race car engine is going until it blows up. We're not letting off the throttle.
That's it. 6.6 VA, baby. That's how we roll. So the only lever left is how we individually respond to it.
Right. And that's the entire premise of tonight's show right there. We can't stop the wave. We can only decide how we ride it.
Hmm.
And this segues perfectly into what's coming next.
Hey, let's talk about it. Data centers.
Look, this is the physical side of the same money story.
Mm-hmm. And family, look, we've been talking about digital risk for the last couple of segments, right? But let's talk about some concrete. Let's talk about some steel, some water, some rebar, and some chips, right?
That's right. Literal infrastructure right now. We're not talking metaphorical infrastructure at all.
Man, we're getting into it, people. I hope you're still with us. Stay with us, right? Because what we're going to do is going to widen the lens, right? Widen the lens for us, Sensei.
All right. So right now, across the country, and if you listen to any news, anywhere, anytime, any place, you hear about this constantly. Communities are starting to push back right now, this month. I don't care if it's a red area. I don't care if it's a blue area. It doesn't matter what side of that coin you're on. They're all pushing back right now.
Don't matter which side, right? And guess what? Exactly. Tell us.
All right. New AI data centers are going up where? In their backyard. So when that happens, what's going to occur? Electricity costs are going to go up. Your water usage is going to spike. And everybody's worried about water right now.
Right.
Right? You have noise complaints.
Yeah.
A strain on the local grid. You think a data center running massive power and massive cooling and massive infrastructure is going to be quiet in a neighborhood or in an area?
No, that's not fringe anymore. That's mainstream.
No. Right. And it's a live political issue heading straight into the midterms this fall.
Wow. Same story, different costume, it looks like.
Say that again.
Same unchecked speed that let an agent wander outside a test sandbox is the same unchecked speed that building physical infrastructure faster than communities can evaluate the impact.
Look, and we can talk about this in many other forms. We're talking about this in a very limited form. But you're also going to notice, if you ever look at cities that are growing faster than their infrastructure can support, and what problems do they have just inherently? You see a city that has a 2-lane highway suddenly needs an 8-lane highway, and traffic takes 4 hours to get what used to take 10 minutes. This is going on across the country. I don't care where you are. This is affecting you everywhere, okay? This is digital and physical. One story wearing two costumes.
Yep. Whatever your politics are, if your electric bill jumps because a data center 3 miles away is training a model you've never even touched. It's happening in your backyard. Yeah.
That's real. That's in your face. That's on your kitchen table right now.
Yeah. And that containment failure ain't just a lab term from a security test. Trust me.
Look, what happens when a data center outgrows the water table? What happens when a chip market is outpriced small builders and hobbyists? What happens for the industry writing the rule book after breaking ground, after the concrete's already poured? It's already here. It's already too late at that point.
Right. Absolutely correct. And you know what? I want my final bosses who are hearing this right now. It's time for you to connect the dots.
It's one pattern. Speed first, questions later, through every single layer of this entire process. Every single piece that we're talking about, from the smallest to the biggest, is following the same exact playbook. Speed first, questions later.
Yeah. It's the Wild Wild West. Now, let me ask you something, Sensei. Let me ask you something, right? I'm playing. You played devil's advocate earlier. Let me play devil's advocate right now, right? Don't we need the data centers, though?
I mean, we do, because I'm not totally anti-data center. Let's be clear about that.
All right. So what's the actual ask from these communities?
Look, right now, it's not don't build it. It's let's talk to us before you build it. Let's share the real cost analysis. Let's share the real impact. Let's share
Okay.
it's going to take your neighborhood, which you've spent all these years buying your house, building up your neighborhood so you have a good return on your investment, and a data center goes in next door and your neighborhood's value just tanked.
Mm.
Now you're upside down in your house because it's not worth anything because you're sitting right next to a data center. Oh,
Right.
and you can't afford the electric to live there, and there's no water for you to water your grass. Now you got to get rid of your grass and put rocks out there because there's no water to feed your grass anymore. California.
Hey, I see what's actually happening here, man, but we're going to talk about that on another show. Hint, techno cities. But look, we talking about transparency all over again, right? Same theme as the regulation segment.
Everything tonight keeps landing on the same word. The same word.
Say it for us.
This is the word we're after today. Transparency. I don't care if it's a lab, a data center developer, or your CRM vendor. It asks the same question. Show your work before you ask for trust.
Wow. Wow. You know, final bosses, smarts, motivators. I hope you guys are paying attention, man. I hope you're paying attention, right? Transparency, right? We talk about transparency. We talk about ethics. We talk about all these things on this show. We give you the real. We give you the real, right? So, this is no different, man. This is no different, right? So,
look, this is such a detailed subject that we have to take a moment here before we get the ball moving, okay? And the reason why is we've covered a lot tonight, but I'm looking at the time going, man, we're already bumping hard.
yeah.
So, and we have a lot more to cover. So I'm almost thinking that this needs to be another segment because this is too important for us to just gloss over. It's too important. It matters
Okay.
too much, and the stakes are too big because some of these fights are actually getting resolved. We're actually making some progress.
Man. Hold on, Sensei. We are making progress, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that this needs to be a two-parter.
I think so.
We've man, I didn't even see the time. Wow.
So because we're jumping into data centers and all the impact of that, and that has its own so much about that I think we would do a disservice. We're not anti-progress here. We're really believing that we need to move the ball forward, but I think we need to approach this from a perspective that our users can actually have something that's valuable come out of it. Because if we just blast through the information of what we know, then we didn't get to really talk about the nuts and bolts of what you can do.
All right. That sounds fair. Then you want to end on this block? You want to go a little bit further? Because we got a couple more minutes.
I know we got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
So just so we put a little something out there that helps to get the positive note. So we're going to follow on a positive note so we're not on the bottom here, right? So look, some communities are already beginning to negotiate water usage caps directly with the developers. They're getting real concessions. They're not just protest signs because the protest signs are great, but they're not stopping anything. Where it matters is in those boardrooms. Where it matters is in those community forums. Where it matters is when you're in front of the city planning committee and you're talking to people. That's where things matter. And that's where our people need to put their focus, not just your protest signs.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%, right? 1,000%. We got to get active. People, it's your community. You have to get active. It's time for you to get involved, right? Because if you don't, they're going to make the decisions that you decided that you didn't want to make, right? And then you have to answer for the consequences that come after it, right? So you have to get involved, right?
Look, when a community organizers and they organize properly, meaning with intelligence, with foresight, not with anger and emotion, but with data. When they organize the developer and engage with them honestly, okay? So you can't just protest and say, no. You have to Talk
Right.
about it. Okay. Intelligently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both things have to happen.
Mhm.
One side alone isn't going to do it. The developer wants to develop. They have the money.
Correct.
They want to spend it. They want to
Yep.
get this thing built. The community says, no,
Mhm.
I don't want you to destroy my community. You have to find a balance.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's got to happen. It can't be a one side wins. You're going to find out in the reality of
Huh.
it, both sides are going to lose. It's about, and if both sides lose, it was successful because one side is never going to win on this thing.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you mentioned that. I had some free time the other day, and I never really have any free time, but I had some free time. And I woke up very early, like 0 dark 30 as usual, right? And we're about to close out, guys. I watched the 3 RoboCop movies in succession. RoboCop 1, RoboCop 2, RoboCop 3. And it's a movie from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go back and watch those movies today, you will have a complete picture of some of the things that are actually happening right now. And I'm sitting there.
Or have already happened. They're already
happened. Or already happened. Right?
Already here. Yep.
Yes, already here. And the plan is in full motion, right? The plan is in full motion. And it is understandably so. There was a moment of truth. Actually, there's a moment of truth in each movie. But the last movie was very telltale, right? They were relocating people, redistricting people into the city, the tech city, right? They were moving them out of the suburbs and calling it, what were they calling it? It was something, man. They were calling it something. I can't think of it right now, but it was very, very interesting. Yeah, they were taking the people out the suburbs and moving them into the city for the sake of security. Well,
always for safety.
Always security.
If somebody tells you they're doing something and the safety becomes the word that they use, you understand your rights are gone. Okay, your rights went bye-bye because you don't matter over the perceived safety of everybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, Hollywood will tell you that story in a heartbeat.
Oh, they sure will, man. They sure will. And again, that's a movie from the 80s, right? Like a lot of the movies from the 80s that are coming to fruition or have come to fruition, right? So, it is what it is, man. But that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. That is our show. We are going to continue this conversation because you deserve to hear the rest of this conversation, right? Because there's more layers to it than what we just spoke of, man. And we want to make sure that we give the information to you accordingly, right? So we will continue this conversation. Sensei, you have anything else you want to say for the good people?
I always like to say, we study the machine. We don't argue with the decorations. We talk about the nuts and bolts, about what is happening, not the emotional side of that. It upsets me that it's happening. I don't care about your emotions. Right. I care about this is what's happening. So we now know what to do about it instead of just being emotionally upset about it and just yelling at my screen. That doesn't do you any good. Absolutely. Yelling at your screen doesn't do any good at all.
Do you any good? Nope. Get active, people. Get active. Save your communities, right? Because if you don't, like I said before, they're making decisions for you, and you're going to have to deal with the consequences, right? And those consequences can be great. They can be great, right? We mentioned some of those. We're going to mention some more on the next segment on part 2 of this episode right here, right? Thanks for the Sensei. I am here. We are here. This has been the Fighter Boss Podcast, Season 4, Arc 5, The Declaration, Season 4, The Rebirth, episode number 284, right? Think about it. 284. And as always, there's a heavier pain that comes with discipline, but there is an even heavier pain that comes with regret. Be balanced, be equal, and be smart. And if I don't see you again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That is our show, ladies and gentlemen. That is our show. Thank you for joining us. We shall see you again next Tuesday, and we're going to continue this conversation, right? We might have a few more surprises for you as well. So make sure you have your pens and paper because we're going to get into it. See you then.
Welcome to Tech Tuesday on the Final Boss podcast, where innovation meets attitude, and the future gets decoded one bite at a time. I'm your host, Turbo the CEO, and your co-host, Mike Foth. And today we're diving deep into the tech trenches to uncover the tools, trends, and truths shaping tomorrow. Whether you're a code slinger, gadget geek, or just tech curious, this is your weekly power-up. So grab your controller, plug in, and let's level up.